In the previous video, you set up the AWS Linux instance successfully. Now it is time to set up your Docker container. To connect into your instance, you will need its public IP address, found under the Networking tab on the Instances page. This is the address you will use to connect in with any SSH tool of your choosing. With your public IP address now copied and ready, enter it into your preferred SSH tool to connect, using the default username of EC2user. For this example, our user has chosen PuTTY to interface with. Because it is a new host, your SSH client will prompt you with a security warning message. Accept it to continue and launch your Linux terminal. To prepare the Linux instance for HCI, install Docker. By default, the AWS version of Docker limits how many open files can be accessed at a given time. In order for HCI to run correctly, this value needs to be updated in the docker sysconfig file. Update the value. In the file, change the default values to the minimum recommended value for the metrics service of HCI. In order for HCI to launch on the instance, the Docker service must be running. Start the Docker service. To test if you have set up Docker correctly to this point, run the Hello World script in Docker. Now it is time to configure Docker to start after the instance is rebooted. The final step in preparation for the HCI installation is adjusting the default max map count value. Lastly, to configure the max map count value to adjust on reboot, edit the sysctl config file. You can now proceed to the final video to install HCI.